Welcome back to Sweat Equity. Eric Valdez alongside Jules Johnson. I hope y'all had a good week. All right, good weekend to finish off for sure. Like that. Big weekend in UFC. We were just talking about that. What were your thoughts on that?
Listen, I, dude, I dominant,
Dominant.
dominant ground performance,
Dominant.
bro.
Yeah, of
Dominant
course.
ground. I haven't seen a ground performance like that in a long time, bro.
And I'm not surprised from that camp, at all. Like I just finished telling you, that it's just a different intensity type of training, and you can
They
see it
were
across
ready.
the board from any of those guys from that camp. Like a lot of those people that go against them, like they're just not ready for it. Those, it's like they
It's
some
like
dogs.
anacondas. It's like
Yeah,
anacondas, bro. They
yeah, they're
get
gonna
on you and they
fucking
just like
they get their hands on you, and they're gonna wear you out and just constrict you until you're tired of shit. And then even after you survive all that, like good luck doing anything on your feet. You know what I mean?
I think you have to be in it to really appreciate how much energy you burn trying to get somebody off of you. Like
Yeah.
that's an exhausting experience.
I had one of my clients. He was asking me like, "Oh, what do you think about, this the fight this week, coming up and stuff like that?" And I'm like, man, like if it comes to the wrestling, like Duplessis done. You know what I mean? Or anybody, and like people don't really understand, and it's probably one of the most boring things to see, in a UFC fight with when a guy is pinned up on the fence and not much is happening, but to the untrained eye, nothing's happening. But to someone that understands, I'm like, you are burning so much energy. You know what I mean? Like trying to get off a fence. Like put your back against a wall against someone that knows how to pin you there, and tell me like how you feel afterwards. Like after like 30 seconds or like a minute. You know what I mean? And
In 30 seconds or a minute, bro, but that's coming from somebody that's trained.
yeah.
Remember, the average street fight lasts like 20 seconds, bro, and people are exhausted.
No,
I
yeah.
mean, trying to get somebody off you for 5 seconds, bro, and they're like, okay, I'm over it.
I forget what statistic I saw like before, and I've seen it. It's like how men, especially men, how what percentage they underestimate what they think they can fight, and it's like 650%. Freaking think that they know how to fight, but they really don't. You know what I mean? Like that. Like they like that's how they overthink. Like 650% and more, what their actual skill set is,
Right.
and the amount of people that think it's disrespectful when they're like kind of bullshitting and be like, oh, you talking about you like you're only gonna give me like 30 seconds. I'm like, yes, 30 seconds. you know and then you look at a UFC fight like that, someone's so dominant, like Shemaev and stuff, and like even less than that, you know because it's just a different type of animal, especially when grappling and jujitsu or sambo or any of those grappling style arts, like that. Like, good luck getting, freaking a fully grown man off you, when you're pinned on the fence, or even worse, when you're flat on your back trying to defend yourself, trying to get to your feet. Like, like how frustrating is that to you? When like Saul or your coach in the corner is like, get up, stand up. And like, I'm trying, motherfucker.
Doing everything in my power to stand up right now.
Yeah, but like, good on Shemaev. I'm not surprised on the outcome of him winning, but I am surprised that someone at like I told you, like Duplessis. And go ahead. What was his run before this loss? Say it again.
It was so it started off with
Whitaker.
Darren Till, Derek Brunson, Robert Whitaker, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, then another fight against Sean Strickland, and then this one.
Yeah, that's a crazy run, of high caliber people. A lot of them are strikers like that.
Right.
So So now he met someone that that is a decent striker. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's one of the better strikers from that camp. But then again, with that wrestling, like no, not happening. You know what I mean? And then again, like I told you, like, I don't know off the top of my head what the statistic was, but like he had like something super crazy of not being taken down and very little freaking control time. His opponents controlling him over 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, good luck getting on your feet and doing anything and being effective, to throw a strike, any type of strike, a punch, a kick, anything like that, or even trying to get a takedown back, yourself. Like, it just, like that. So, but it's been a long time coming for him to be a champ. You know what I mean? For sure. It's a lot of questionable things too along him getting there too, because a lot of missed weight cuts or being sick, and then some people might even say he was dodging people, or like, or Dana White was kind of protecting him, so he can keep his undefeated record, whatever it is. But either way, for sure I saw it coming, him being a champion like that. So like it's kind of crazy to think of like who's underneath that's going to come up to actually challenge him, and possibly dominate him. You know what I mean? That it's crazy.
He's got that. He's got the ground game. Like if he doesn't really train the ground game for the next 6 months, it's not just going to go out the window, right?
Hell no, man. He's
He
probably
can
been training
spend
since he was 3 years old. You know what I mean? In
trainers and shit.
wrestling. so,
So he can
so
spend time working on his hands, and if he can be that rounded, bro, where you up top, down low, he's gonna be a nightmare, bro. He's gonna be like, dare I say, man, old school John Jones, GSP. I mean, those guys were
you think
taking what he want.
he'll make a run after Anderson Silva's freaking record?
I,
Most consecutive.
I mean, I would.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in his position, though, if I was in his position with the tools that he has, and really, I mean, he doesn't really like the UFC today. I was just talking about the other day. The UFC today is not like old school UFC where you had like staples. Like you had like it's a lot of new names. It's a lot of people coming in,
Mm-hmm.
going out, coming in, going out. And so, right now, I mean, he's got the ability to just come in and kind of drag some of these new guys through the mud unless they
Yeah.
can really, really show like you got. It's gonna take a lot to beat that guy, man. It's gonna take a lot to beat that guy.
Yeah, I could see him on
If he
on
can
on
stay
top of the
disciplined.
mountain for a long time,
Yeah, yeah.
for sure. And speaking of UFC, um, what would you do with $7.7 billion?
Bro, listen, you don't even want to know how many hamburgers I'm gonna eat because it's not gonna matter. I'm just gonna get lipo. I'm gonna be fine, bro. Bro, that is that is a huge streaming deal, bro.
Yeah,
Huge.
7 years, $7.7 billion. And it's crazy to think that, back in the day when he made that deal with Spike TV,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Did you
ten
remember
million
that?
dollars. Yeah, he got $10 million from that deal, and we're like, whoa, man, that's a lot of fucking money, like that. And for that shit to come out this week and him sign that, you know, as a fan, I'm just more happy because I do have freaking Prime Plus, like that gives me Paramount and shit like that. I'm like, now I don't gotta fucking order none of this shit. I was like. As a fan, I'm happy about the. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's a crazy deal. I wouldn't like, bro, 7.7 billion with a B.
Hey, a deal like that, you bring in so many more because and you bring in so much more sponsorship money because you have people that were going. Man, I would watch the fight, but I don't want to pay $60 just to see this one fight on the card. But
Yep.
now I can pay $20 a month, right, and see every fight on the card if I want, or just watch that one fight, plus get some movies, plus get some whatever. So now you're gonna bring a lot more people to the table to watch, and that's just gonna generate revenue. I wonder how it's gonna affect the ticket sales though.
Hmm. Ticket sales. I don't feel like it's gonna be a huge draw from that, like a big draw from ticket sales. I still feel like people are still going to come in. It's one of those things where, as a fan, you still want to be in the environment of the arena and watching it, for sure. Because if that's the case, I mean, I'm like, I love Astros, I love the Texans, my favorite sport teams, but why the fuck do I still go to their games? Whenever I get a chance to, it's still that. Like I can see them on TV, what I
You
mean.
didn't
But
switch over to the
it's the environment, what I mean. What's that?
you didn't switch over to the Oklahoma baseball team.
Hell no, man. They don't even have Oklahoma baseball team. Like that. Man,
Yeah,
I
that's what
stay
I.
repping Houston, bro, all day. All right. Never
I
home, but always repping. All right.
hit him with his drizzy. I really don't think it'll. For the reasons you just said, I don't think it's going to have an effect on ticket sales at all. I think um, when you want to go, when you watching the fight at home is amazing, right? And you can
Yeah.
watch your boxer shorts, and you can eat, $2 nachos, whatever. But being in the stadium, bro. I
hmm
remember being in the stadium when JDS fought Cain Velasquez.
Yeah. I was there.
Bro.
I set up everything for them for the pre fights and stuff.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, yeah.
I think that was like one of my most memorable things about UFC, especially when they came to Houston and stuff like that, and to hold the belt and how heavy that belt was. I was like, man, that shit gave me some chills. And then being in the stands and watching it, like I had some pretty good tickets too. Like I was like middle tier row seats and stuff like that, and like there's nothing like it's different from being home. You know what I mean? For sure.
That, the punches from Cain Velasquez and JDS was
So loud.
amazing, bro. And you're
Yeah.
in the and you're like, what are they
Yeah.
doing to each other down there?
Yeah, like and it's crazy to think because I'm like, fighting in a rated theater. I'm like, like things are pretty loud in there too, and you can hear everything. But then you think about the Toyota Center, a way bigger
Toyota Center.
arena, and it's still it's still, you feel like it's right there in front of your face, and like how much heavier and harder these hits are and stuff like that.
So
And everything is more amplified too because like when that strike happens or that knockdown or freaking whatever it is, those exchanges happen like that, like the crowd is way more bigger, so like the reaction is like, and so like that's why I feel like ticket sales won't get, won't make a big hit at all like that. People still want to come and see live and be like, oh, I was there, what I mean, like that, and be able to recall that and live that, as opposed to just being home and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was watching that at home. It's not the same. It's not the same. Like that. Yeah, a freaking talking about money too. All right, and we just talking about like this because like I really couldn't do too much this weekend because it's just so fucking hot. You know what I mean? But like and I want to be outside with my boys and stuff like that, and it's cool being outside, at the pool and things like that. But you know, uh when it comes to heat, what is, a couple things that like you think of when it comes to heat, in the pool and the being outdoors and playing in your backyard and stuff like that. Let's reminisce a little bit.
outdoors in the heat.
Yeah.
Summertime being gone all day long and drinking out the water hose. All go for
Yeah,
that.
you
I,
can't say you had you can't say you were a kid or had a kid life if you didn't drink out of some water hose. That manguera. Oh yeah, bro, it just hit
bro,
different.
there's um, there's also bro, water guns, super
Water
soakers.
guns. All right, specifically the Super Soaker. Did you ever have one of those?
I have one now.
We'll be tearing
Oh,
up them kids with the Super Soaker like that.
man. Yeah. He just hit. He just got some money. He got
Yes,
a
yes. All right.
big chunk of money.
$73 million. All right. Oh, awarded to him. So the inventor of the Super Soaker, what's his name? Lonnie Johnson. All right. A former NASA engineer. All right, invented the Super Soaker in 1989. All right, and freaking was just awarded, $73 million in unpaid royalties, over a span of 24 years. Like that. That's crazy. Talk about some money too, man. I was like, shit. I was like, 7.7 billion is good, but even 73 million, like that. And man, it's a long time coming too. You know what I mean? Like that is like, I hope he wasn't on his, on his last dime or something. But
So,
bro,
so the way that generally happens is, which is what a lot of people. So you get a big award like that, right?
yeah.
73 million, and then the case still isn't over because he can
Why?
wait. He can wait 20 years to get his money at whatever the annuitized rate is, whatever. Or the people, Hasbro or whoever it is, Hasbro or whatever, they'll come and say, okay, look, we can give you 73 million over 20 years, or you can take 20 million right now. You know what I'm saying? And then they start negotiating what they owe because
How are you negotiating something that that the court system already deemed that
but
is yours?
it's a judgment. So all you have is a judgment. The court
What
doesn't.
does that mean?
The judgment's just a piece of paper saying this is how much money these people owe you. How collecting on the judgment is a completely different ordeal. So now
Hmm.
you have to. So now you have to go through the collection process, and people will put liens on houses and properties and all this stuff. And so for one, so now as a person that owes the money, you have to start looking at what the value of the money is. Like, what's the value? If I 20 years, 73 million over 20 years is what, about 4 million a year? A little under 4 million a year, like 3 million a year, something like that. 3 million to 60 million, so like 3.5 million. Okay, maybe.
I'm pretty sure you're not like that guy. He's not gonna live to see all that money if they do that.
And and that's the reason why you start going, well, wait a minute, because if he invented it, if he was a NASA engineer in 89, right, when he invented it, that tells you that in 89 he was probably 35, 40 years old. So he's probably 60 or 70 years old now. So you look at how much time you have left on your life. You think, look, I may live another 4 years. I may live another 10 years. They're talking about giving me 4 million over 10 years. That's 40 million if I take it every day. But if I take 20 million now, I can take that 20 million, invest it however I want, put it in a trust, leave it for my family, and definitely have it. Mm, that's different from having them try to fight and collect the money later after you're dead. So, but that's just up to you. Like you could, like people do it all the time. Like when I play the lotto, I don't take the I want, give me the payout right now. Give me all the
Yeah,
money right now. It'll be
yeah, no,
less than
yeah,
whatever it is, but give me the money right now, and I'll figure everything else out later.
yeah. Like I feel like things like that, like 20 million right now, like that of you investing in it and putting it in a trust. Obviously you're not gonna live long enough to spend it all. But obviously, too, if you're a smart person like that, like you're thinking about your legacy and your family's family, like that. Like 20 million, incurring freaking 5 to 8% interest over years like that is going to be making a lot more money than 4 million every year. You know what I mean? Like that. So like,
But
yeah,
you're,
let me
you're not
start.
getting any money on it.
Yeah,
You're not gaining any money on it. It's just this is just what's yeah. But 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 that's a huge win for him.
oh
That's
yeah,
a
you know what I mean.
huge win for him.
And don't tell me that Hasbro or whoever the hell stole this idea or whatever like that. They don't got no $70 million or $73 million like that. Like you better run me my money. You know what I mean?
Just get, but also the flip side of that is, and this is where it's really, really, really important to have a good lawyer because I can't imagine what their legal fees were fighting this case. You know what I'm saying? Like their legal fees for this were probably astronomical. And they probably could have settled the case with him. This is just me guessing, for less than they paid in legal fees without the judgment.
Mm-hmm.
He probably, I mean, because he was a NASA engineer. I'm not saying that he's broke, but you know you invent something, and someone says, "Hey, give me 10 million bucks," and then you go, "Okay, I'll take it." You know what I'm saying? Unless you're super petty, bro. Petty. No, no,
Hey,
no, no, no,
sometimes it's about the principle. You know what I mean?
bro. Do you
Like that, like
remember? Do you remember Coca-Cola Sierra Mist?
gross.
But have you seen it? Have you seen it on the store and on the shelves lately?
No,
You know why?
why?
The most petty person in the world is why, bro. Check this out. There's a chick. There was a chick on TikTok.
Uh huh.
Chick on TikTok's name Sierra Mist.
Oh,
Coke
was
hits
it?
her up. That was her name. Coke hits her up and says, "Hey, look, you got to stop using our name, bro. Like, cut it. That's us. Take it down. You're not going to." She was like, "I'm not taking my name down, Sierra Mist." Then she goes and looks up the copyright on Sierra Mist. Coke let it lapse.
Oh
So
yeah. So they
she
didn't even own it.
so she copyrighted it, bro.
Yeah.
So then she
Smart.
copyrights it, and then and it's smart. And then
Yeah.
Coke hits her like they go, oh, wait a minute, my bad. Hey, we'll give you some money, right? We'll give you some money, and then you. She was like,
Nah, fuck your money.
nah, I'm not gonna do that. So now Sierra Mist is called Starry. It's the drink they call Starry in the States.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Now check this out.
Wow, when did that happen,
Imagine,
bro?
no,
I
this
don't
this
even
is a couple
drink
years
Sierra
ago.
Mist, so it's not like I give a shit. But I'm like,
So,
honestly, I don't even see Sierra Mist in the fucking stores no more.
so,
So
so check this out. Think about how much money that costs Coke because you've got cans, supplies, advertising. You've got
yeah,
all this stuff,
like people don't understand how big branding is. You know what I mean? I'm
bro.
like the amount, like
Worldwide branding,
yeah, exactly. I mean, and
and it's
especially
not like you can't just go. You can't just go. Oh, I'm gonna take the Sierra Mist and pour it in here, and now I'm gonna call it something else.
yeah,
This thing is gone. You have to trash this, bro. So
yeah.
think
I
about all
mean,
the wasted. Oh my god, man.
I like. I was like, I would never think in a million years to even just to be like, I want a starry. Fuck no. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit? I'm grabbing a Sprite. You know what I mean?
What drink?
No, yeah. So like,
It must have been a Pepsi or something because Sprite is Coke, so it must be Pepsi or
yeah,
whatever
you know,
Sierra Mist was. Sierra Mist was Pepsi.
yeah, Pepsi. Pepsi be fucking up because you saw that documentary about the airplane, right? And that boy that fucking was like, you know what? I'm gonna get these tickets, and then they didn't want to pay that shit out. Like that. But at the end of the day, they went to federal court and they ruled in the boys' favor, and they still didn't. They're like, nah, we still ain't giving you this fucking aircraft, fucking weapon, it's and shit like that. So I like that. So
But I'm just thinking about how, like, like Eric Valdez, Jules Johnson. Somebody comes in and is like, "Hey, man, I'll give you 7 million for the name. Here you
bye.
go."
Hey,
The
we
thing
just got 3.5 mil right now. You know what I mean? So I am not tied to this name. I'll find a different name. All right?
I've always wanted to be like a Rick. Like you call me whenever you want to call me. Like, yeah. And bro, I could
Mm,
not be that petty.
no,
Whatever.
I like.
That's hilarious.
I, there's nothing there's nothing off the top of my head where I'm that petty as for brand recognition. I like that. Like if someone came up to me with money like that, I'm like, okay, like where'd I sign? You know what I mean? Here's my Venmo, Cash App. What you doing? Huh? It's,
What,
yeah.
even if you want to be a dick, though. Let's say you want to be a super dick. You go, you know what? I'll license you the name. You can use it for 10 years. After 10 years, after 10 years, I'll sell it to you. You can still pay me royalties on it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can parlay it into something that's long lasting. But I'm not just gonna be like, fuck off, keep your money, go change the name of your soda.
Hmm.
I'm not doing that, bro. I'm not
Nah,
put my
okay.
face on the soda. Like,
Yeah, what I mean, you're an Instagram person or TikTok person anyway. You're trying to, you're chasing clout anyway. Like, have your fucking face on all the merchandise too.
right.
So
What are we doing?
yeah, maybe she didn't have a good lawyer. So, all right.
Oh
Like
man,
that.
that's crazy.
All right, last thing about money, you know what I mean? Freaking since we're on that whole topic and stuff like
I
that,
love money.
because obviously we ain't coming up on no 7.7 billion, and we ain't coming up on no freaking 73 million. But I know I got $500 on me right now. All right. And have you heard this story about freaking this guy that bought a unopened storage unit for $500? And what was in it? Freaking $7.5 million.
Bro,
I like, bro. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna, how many times you like got into storage wars and shit like that?
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I just I don't know, man. I'm just kind of when you watch it, like you watch and you're like, it's the ones that fail that you're like wah wah wah.
Yeah,
You know what I
and they pay like freaking like 1,200, $2,500 for that shitty ass unit, because they
mean?
think they see all these boxes and none but just newspapers in there and shit like
You're
that.
right.
And you
Grandma's
know,
old dishes.
yeah, and then bro, like, but then on top of that, like, who hides or who puts $7.5 million in a storage unit, and then on top of that forgets about it,
So
bro?
so
I'm not
you
forgetting
know where
about
it
no
comes from.
$7.5 million in a
You
storage
know
unit.
where it comes from.
Uh, you
You
know
know
what that
where.
reminds me of is that one. It reminds me of that. You heard this story too about that Colombian farmer that dug up like I want to say like $500 million, like that of
Uh-huh,
money, and
uh-huh.
he instantly. Well, they didn't say that. We know whose money it is. They didn't say it though, but he instantly turned it into the government and called the police and turned it into back to the government. And I'm not mad at him though, because why? Last thing I want to be caught with is Pablo Escobar's money. All right,
Word.
like that.
That's
Freaking, and then I'm hanging somewhere with a Colombian necktie, because I,
still funny.
because I was a farmer one day. The next day I'm fucking taking, I got a Bugatti on my farm. You know what I mean? Some shit.
But you know
So,
that's what happens when they come up with big like and whenever there's like big cars or like jewelry or all that stuff that end up in those storage units, it's either because somebody was using the storage unit as like a safe from their
hmm
from their family, so they put the stuff in there and then they die or they go to jail. And then once
yeah.
they go, and then it just nobody knows that it exists. Um,
But
years
that guy came back and tried to buy it back from him. The the guy that freaking that forgot about it. Yeah, it says it in here. I have it right here. Let's see. Guy buys unopened storage unit for $500. Founds a safe stuff with 7.5 million inside. The unit was sold to Dan Dotson from the was sold by Dan Dotson, the storage war guy. That talks real fast and shit like that. And then it came to be that the old owner offered $1.2 million to get it back.
there's no way.
Like, why I want one
That
point
doesn't make
two if I got 7.5?
doesn't make sense. Stupid.
I'm like, and then on top of that, I got a fucking purchase receipt. This shit is mine. You know what I
This is
mean?
my
Nine
this
tenths
is
of the law is, possession is nine
it,
tenths of the law. It's mine,
bro,
motherfucker.
bro. Cash is a bearer instrument, bro. If I have
Yeah,
it, it's mine. You left it
yeah,
in the safe. I don't know what to tell you. I
yeah.
I'm
You know what
sorry,
I
bro.
mean? You snooze, you lose.
Bro, I'm
Exactly.
sorry. You should have paid that bill, Daddy. Like I don't know what you was thinking.
Like, yeah, you got all that money, and you and you freaking you missed a couple payments on your storage unit. It's like
Bro,
$150 a month. Like for real,
but
like
that's
that.
the,
Like
but
you
that's the
could,
type of thing that you pay in that like 20 years in
in,
advance.
yeah, you know what I mean. Like freaking, hey, just a year out in advance. Oh, here's 12 months. Here's another 12 months in advance. You know what I mean? Just, you
But
know what I mean?
even then, though, like if you have that kind of money, you just buy the storage facility, have one unit that's yours, and you rent to everybody else. So now your money
And
is tucked away
make
and
your
it's
money.
making money. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
I'm
He's
like,
well, I don't know, bro. That he's out of his mind. And you think you're gonna come back and if you think you're gonna come back and buy it for anything less than the 7.5 million, you're out of your mind. Like you're crazy. Like
like, don't even bother asking me. You know what I mean? I'm
that's
like,
nuts, bro.
I'm getting my money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like. Yeah, and that's the craziest fucking thing in the world. It's not happening.
This is a question that I think about now. Now that you're saying it like that, what if I gave you a quarter, all right,
Right?
and then you ran to the slot machine and you hit a jackpot? Do you owe
Right.
me money?
Yeah, quarter.
You owe me.
You have to play 5 cents.
Here's your quarterback. You know what I
But
mean?
you
I
know,
got 50 mil.
but you know, the funny thing is, whenever you see stuff like that happen, you always go like, on the one hand, dude just gave you a quarter, like he was like here, right? Like you really. But then on the other hand, it's like, but if I wouldn't have got the quarter, I wouldn't have got this. So I can get away with like here. You know what I'm saying? Like let me
Yeah,
break
just toss
here,
me a cool meal, and we call it even. You know what I mean?
here.
Like that. Hey,
Like
man, blessing on you. You had the touch, but let me get a little bit off the top. You know what I
bro,
mean?
I don't understand why people don't do that, bro. But I mean, 50 million, bro. I'm breaking bread. Like it doesn't make a difference to me.
Uh,
Like we doing the
all
thing.
right, look, hey, right now, like I don't. We're running through the whole rabbit hole right now. All right, because this is it got me a little bit heated this week. All right, Phil Knight. You know Phil Knight.
Yeah,
All right, you're probably wearing his shoes right now, Nikes. All right,
yeah.
so okay, did you just hear what he just donated?
No, what did he do? Tell me what he
He
done.
donated $2.2 billion. All right, to cancer research. Okay,
Okay.
now,
Okay.
all right, let's put our conspiracy hat on. Okay,
Okay.
do you believe that there is a medicine out there right now that cures cancer?
Oh yeah. Mhm.
I do too. I honestly believe that there is a medicine out there right now that cures cancer. Look at fucking Jerry Jones, all right? The owner of the freaking Cowboys. He just beat stage 4 cancer that he's been fighting for 10 years. You got mad money and he's old as fuck. How the fuck you beat stage 4 cancer? Because there's a pill out there. Don't tell me there's not a pill out there, all
Bro,
right?
bro, what did Kanye say? You can live through anything if magic made it.
Magic made it. Yes, all
Oh,
right? Yeah. So now this begs the question, all right? Why? So then this is like my entrepreneur mind going into gear and stuff like that. Why are you donating $2.2 billion to cancer research if A, we have yet to find any answers for cancer? Do you know off the top of your head, or can you think how long we've been trying to, we've been fighting, this battle with cancer?
any idea? Any
Not at all. You know what I mean? If I had to guess, probably freaking late 50s, early 60s. They've been probably, like it's been more paramount, you know what I mean, of hey, we gotta find something for this freaking this threatening disease, you know what I mean? Like that. Or, they do already have this freaking life-saving cure and they're just holding it because they know this is a trillion an infinity money freaking gauntlet, of business because uh, uh because if they give up this cure, then that's it. That's a huge pie for anybody that sells any type of cancer shit, right?
right.
So then why are you donated to something that's already they already found a cure for? Well, let's think about it. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's so generous. He's giving all the, billions of dollars to research." No, not really. Like, yeah, he's a generous man, but understand this dude. This is a fucking tax write off. All right, he's getting that money back, and then on top of that, what I mean, like, I even could go down the rabbit hole. Maybe he's washing some money. You know what I mean? Like that.
I've always, I don't
You
care.
know, like that. Like But where this pisses me off though is that if that dude turned around and gave that money to every U.S. citizen, all right, freaking, a piece of that 2.2 billion, I could probably have a cool $250,000 right now. I mean, yeah, $250,000 right now in my bank account, 250,000 right now. That's how much money that is that he just gave. That everybody in the United States, if he would have just turned around and just gave it to and helped out everybody in the United States, me and you both could have had $250,000
Yeah,
right now chilling in
chilling,
our bank account.
chilling.
That's how much fucking money that is. You know what I mean? And then just to think about like how rich you are, like you just one morning you just wake up and be like, let me just donate $2.2 billion to something that we've yet to find a cure for. You know what I mean? Like that. Like it just, man, it just blows my mind. You know what I mean?
Bro,
I was like, God, like
I'll tell you this. I didn't realize this, bro, because we're just, I've just kind of looked. They're talking about second century doctors treating cancer.
treating, treating.
Well, they're saying that they were, trying to, they've been dealing with cancer diagnoses since the second century, and
Yeah,
they're still, so basically, as long as there's been people, they've been looking for a cure for cancer.
that's crazy, bro.
That's crazy.
And how many months did we find a cure for freaking COVID?
Bro,
But since people
that took
been
like
living,
6
we
months.
still haven't found nothing. That's
You know,
something
I
is
just,
really wrong.
it's one of those things that's so weird because when you start looking at it and you start looking at just today's times and you look at the US versus other countries, right? And you look at um, the medicines that we sell here with the FDA and having the FDA certified and the medicines that are in other places that don't have the FDA, but then you start looking at their effectivenesses and all that stuff. And you start looking at the cost of medicine here versus the cost of medicine in other countries. In other countries, the medicine's more effective, not as
And way
expensive.
cheaper.
It's not as expensive and it's more effective. And you're like, yeah, but you don't know what they're putting in it. They could be putting methamphetamine and cocaine in it. It's like, yeah, they could be. Only the streets aren't running full of meth addicts and cocaine addicts. It's just people whose
Bro,
backs don't hurt anymore.
I have stage 4 cancer. Why the fuck do I care? You know what I mean?
Right, put a
I'm
little meth
like,
in there, folks.
yeah, if I want to inject that shit straight to the freaking, to the vein, I'm dying anyway. you know, I like whatever it is, like, give it to me. Like whatever experimental drug it is, I'm dying anyway. So
I'm gonna be bitten by a radioactive spider. Like, zap me with gamma radiation. Like, whatever it
all
is,
that
let's
shit,
see what happens.
bro.
Let's see what happens.
Yes. you know,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
give it to me all at once. So I like, but enough about money. I wish I had it, you know what I mean? But sad thing about it is I like, you can only do so much, right? So, just stay in the gym, work out, live as healthy, a long, prosperous life as possible, you know what I mean? Like that. Or maybe 23 years from now, maybe you get royalties from some shit that you made. So it's
Right.
yes.
Right. That's what's
All
up.
right, man. Um this episode, man, we're gonna get into that last part of mastering violence like that, for sure. So let's go ahead and pop that up, and I want to see what the ladies talking about, and give our thoughts on that. For sure, it's been a great topic, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback, from sure, of what she's been talking about like that. And by the and then too, man, try to catch her name. I obviously want to shout her out, yeah, for sure. Give her credit of everything that she's, was talking about, especially in all these statistics, behind it and things like that. So make sure that we give her due diligence of everything that she's been posting, like that. So
This one, and then I'll make sure that we put the name. It's on the VRRS VRSS Fight Gear is their Instagram, um, and maybe we'll put a link to that or something, so that people could see it. But here is the final part, which is
The most dangerous fighters are often the most emotionally intelligent. Interesting. A study of 444 martial artists across jujitsu, judo, karate, boxing, self repair, then lower
I can hear it. Yeah.
Level ones. And get this, boxers scored especially high in emotional self awareness and emotional control. In fact, one study found that they performed up to 72% better than non athletes in those areas. Daniel Goleman, the brilliant mind and the man who literally wrote the book on emotional intelligence, he put it like this: we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels. And elite fighters train both. They don't suppress emotion, they use it. Because in a heated exchange, your emotional brain can react up to 500 times faster than your rational brain. So the fighters who stay composed, they've trained for that. They've learned to channel chaos into control. And it's not just theory. A meta analysis of over 3,000 athletes found that higher emotional intelligence directly correlates with better sports performance. And combat sports takes it further. You're not just managing pressure, you're managing your body and emotions under actual physical threat. So the next time that you train, ask yourself, are you just sharpening your technique, or are you sharpening the mindset that makes it all count? Apparently, the most dangerous fighters are often the most emotionally intelligent. Interesting. A study of
Yeah. It, for this one right here, it's I think it's an accumulation of all three that we've been talking, and speaking on this whole time, like that, and it's going back to not seeing red. You know what I mean? And a lot of the times that those type of people that see red and things is that they're just way too emotionally invested into whatever's in front of them. You know what I mean? And a lot of times it's, where, their opponent is getting the better of them through words, you know what I mean? Like that. And, maybe I cap on your mama or freaking, dig deep into your religion or freaking say something about your family and things like that. And it's psychological warfare. It happens all the time, like that. As for, especially when like leading up to the fight in a professional sense where you're doing all these interviews like that. And the thing is that, you cannot take those things personal, like that. Whether the person is saying it freaking at you personally or trying to build up the fight through entertainment and things like that, like it's the name of the game. It's gonna happen, and it takes a certain type of person to make sure to stay level-headed through all of that, what I mean? So when the fight comes, like they do not diverge from their game plan, and like that, and then they just start to see red, and then they're not um what I'm trying to say. They're just too wild, as for throwing punches and strikes and leaving themselves vulnerable, what I mean, because that person, they're just trying to rip their head off, as opposed to if they would just stay calm, cool, collective the whole way through and just and made sure that not getting emotionally tied up, like then yeah, like all your training that you've been through and everything like that is just it's gonna overtake that and supersede it and like that. And there's gonna be a better outcome for you in the long run, especially in the fight or even if it is practice, for sure.
It's the don't mean to step on your toes here, but it's the thing that people always talk about, which is the difference between a man arguing and a woman arguing. When a man,
That's a hot one.
it's a hot one,
Yeah.
but they always talk about men arguing from
Logic and
places
emotion.
of logic versus emotion, and it's
Hmm.
the same thing. It's the same thing, only it's applied to fight. When you're emotional,
Hmm.
you're not all I'm thinking is I want to hit this person. So
Yeah.
I want to hit this person. You're not thinking if I just throw my hands out, I'm leaving myself open because I have to drop my hand because I'm just trying to hit him as hard as possible.
Hmm.
Versus the logical approach, which is let me see where there's openings. I can slip, I can move, I can get in tight, and then bow, bow, and now it's over. And
Yeah.
so, and that logic versus emotion, whenever we make bad decisions, not all bad decisions, but whenever we make bad decisions, they've happened out of some level of emotion, right?
Yeah.
Like very seldom do you just make a snap decision and it's the right decision, right? Like now you
No.
can make quick decisions based on logic,
Yes. And we
and
talked
that's
about
one
that
thing,
last time. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But just a snap decision, I mean, come on, man. Those are the snap decisions when people, end up in jail, they end up here. It's and when I was listening to her talk, it reminded me of, and you were just saying it also. It reminded me of my buddy, the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time, Mike Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Tyson had an interview which said, I used to beat the guys before they even made it to the ring with the
Mm-hmm.
art of intimidation because I've taken you out of your game plan. Now you're completely emotional. You're not thinking about the game anymore. You're thinking about the emotion that generated when I told Razor Ruddock I was going to put lipstick on him and make him my girlfriend. And now he's thinking about that going into the ring. And all I'm thinking about is how I'm going to hit this guy, how I'm going to get close, how I'm going to slip, and then hit him with these uppercuts. And he's thinking about, I'm going to show this guy that he can't put lipstick on me and make me his girlfriend, and I'm already ahead. And I really do like that series, man.
Yeah.
It's a good Instagram page to follow too.
It really is, and speaking more on that, like the psychological warfare, things like that of and a lot of times too, it's it's not even about you against an opponent too, like that. Let's just take away from like a fight scene where their promotions are involved and they're trying to build up a fight and things like that. Let's just take it at a very low level of just training, like that. Because how often do you go into practice? You know what I mean, that you're going into a rolling session and things like that, and you feel 100%. Good. You know what I mean? Like you ain't tight, you ain't sore, you're not lingering no issues. Freaking, the wife and kids are taken care of. Job was great. Like how often do you feel like that? When you're going in at night to go train and things like that. It's very rare and seldom, right? Like that. You know what I mean? And like, there's a lot of times, even for the average Joe or the weekend warrior and things like that, where, they have all this, outside stress, all right, and then they're trying to come into practice and trying to work out a little bit of their stress and clear their head because that's their sanctum and freaking where they feel like I'm gonna be better, I'm a better myself. But like sometimes it's just really hard to freaking get that stuff off your mind sometimes, you know what I mean, like that. Maybe you had a lot of paperwork and your fucking boss is down your fucking throat and the timeline is crunchy, the 11th hour is already here, and stuff like that, and you're still not prepared, and you got court tomorrow, like that. Maybe freaking, you got girlfriend, boyfriend fucking problems, whatever it may be, like that. Wife, husband problems, freaking like that. Whatever it like that, and like you're just trying to come in here and just try to blow some steam off, like that. But then now, freaking, I'm across the map from you, and fucking Jules is just fucking my shit up. You know what I mean? Like that. I'm already been tapped, and I know he never tasked me with this freaking thing. And then now I'm trying to turn it up and trying to get my get back and stuff like that. And then freaking, I just make out of a spiteful, just rash decision. I go to my go-to where I know I could beat him and I rip his ankle or something like that. Like that, just because I just let the outside world of stress like get to me like that, because now I'm not thinking logically no more. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just feeling the pressure from the outside, and I'm just going into a regular practice where I just couldn't fucking like I couldn't get my head on right, and things like that, and so those are the things where like you just gotta kind of like have to like blow those things off and like maybe take a fucking round off or so, you know what I mean, like that. Maybe it's a day that you don't even you're not even rolling or sparring. Maybe you're just freaking helping other people out. You know what I mean? If you catch yourself like that. I'll tell you a personal story of mine like this, and I've taken stress in my life very uh good. I guess so. You know what I mean? Like that. Like I know myself, and I can compartmentalize a lot of things, and just stick them in a box and put them off to the side, and I'll just deal with it later. But I remember this particular day, and this was a Saturday class, and it came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And like I don't know if you've ever had a panic attack before. Have you ever had one? Like that? I've never had a panic attack ever in my life. And I'm 100% sure that this is what it is, you know what I mean? Because I've never had one before. But the thing was, is like, it was Saturday morning. I went to Pablo's, helped out the kids. Everything was great. And I felt good because all my kids were executing what I taught them. All right. Like that, but at the same time, what was dwelling in the back of my head was the closure of my gym. This is really close to me finally closing my doors. And it's the only thing that was on the back of my head. But me being me, like, yeah, like, no one knows what's going on. I'm just here helping my kids. We're having a good freaking class, and I'm just training them. All right. And then what's after the kids class for Pablo's? Now the adults gotta go. All right. And like we did our warm-up rounds. First round went with a white belt, you know what I mean? Like that, just to warm up, freaking start, you're stretching out and getting a sweat going and like that. Second round went with a freaking blue belt, like that, just start to work my game and whatever the hell that I wanted to work at the time. And then the third round, that's when, okay, third round on, now I'm getting my work in, you know what I mean? Like that, freaking, I know there's going to be another 7 fucking hardcore rounds that, freaking, that I had to get in like that. So that's where I usually start to really kick up things in the third round. And I ended up picking up brown belt. And I've rolled with him before, you know what I mean? Like that. He wasn't like I didn't, feel like he was, he's never really gotten the better of me or anything like that. But as soon as we started going in, you know what I mean, ended up pulling guard, he passed my guard, and I just felt this massive amount of pressure on me and like I just could not get him off me. And then before I knew it, I just started freaking all this outside stress of what was happening at the time, like that. It just started like this euphoric wave of just stress and panic started, seeping in like that. And I had to tap out. You know what I mean? The dude literally didn't have nothing on me and he was just in side control, but I just could not breathe. And I ended up tapping out and freaking out. And I asked him, I was like, hey man, hey, I need you to get off me. I need you to get off me right now. Like I was just in a panic. And without even saying anything, I grabbed all my shit and I just fucking left practice. You know what I mean? Like that. And this continued for like another hour or so, even when I got home. I got home, immediately went to the shower, even freaking did a cold shower, try to control my nerves and my anxiety and things like that. And I went into bed and freaking man, like I did whatever I could just to calm my mind. And then, I took a nap, finally put myself to sleep when I woke up. Like, I just could not believe what the fuck happened. You know what I mean? And the thing about it was just, for me to just be that self aware, like, no, don't push through it and let that get the best of me, like that. Like, God knows, freaking if I would have just like try to push through that and just let the anger and the anxiety freaking of the other side really come out because of all the frustration and just anger that I was feeling too, you know what I mean? Because no one wants to fucking admit that, they failed their business and they had to close doors and, freaking they have all these students that are counting and relying on them and, you don't really have a good question, or an answer to them of what's really going on, with their gym and things like that. But man, I could just sit here and I can say what if and woulda, coulda, shoulda, and things like that. But like, at that time I knew something was wrong, and I couldn't do that and I immediately to the next like Saturday I saw him there, and I immediately apologized to him. I'm like, hey bro, that's not me. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like that. Like you deserve a better freaking training partner and things like that. And like I didn't mean to leave like that. And like he didn't know what happened and he didn't care to ask what happened or anything like that. But he was like, "Hey, bro, like whatever it is, like I understand, man. You're all good with me, like that."
Yeah,
But
that's a
but
good
like
sign.
to like think about these things is like, man, yeah, like I could have easily freaking just went into the other realm and not thought logically, you know what I mean, and just thought emotionally and be like, fuck this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a good trainer. I'm a good coach. I'm a good trainer. You know, I'm a good competitor. Why the fuck is my gym closing? Like, I'm gonna show every fucking body in this damn gym, you know, that I'm better than them and things like that. And maybe something would have happened, you know what I mean? Like that. But, you know, and I'm not saying I'm a perfect example, but like, I'm aware enough to know, like, nah, you know what I mean? Something's wrong. I need to take a break. You know what I mean? Let me blow this off and take a break and things like that, and think a little bit more logically, you know, and be more self-aware, you know, what's happening around with myself internally as opposed to, you know, my surroundings and things like that for sure.
You know, the funny thing is, because we all got the life stuff happening. You know what's going on. So with all the stuff that's going on for me, one of the big things about training is that's literally like one of the only times I have to escape from life. Like
Bro,
that's
it's
the
my
only time. It's it.
biggest woosah, you know what I mean?
It's the only. It's really the only time. It's like the kids aren't there, my wife's not there, my parents aren't there. The job's not there, and I can just go in and for that hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? For that 2 hours, like I could only think about me, right? Which is kind of like it helps. It helps a lot. And so what when it gets really bad is like now when you got Master Worlds coming up, now I'm putting all the pressure on myself when I go in the room. So now I've got the pressure from outside, but now when I get in the room, I've still got the pressure because I'm building this pressure on myself, trying to get ready for this tournament coming up, which is more stressful. But typically training, whether it's in the on the mat, in the cage, punching the bag, weight room lifting weights, like that's the time when you could just like I've been in the gym with you working out. You go in, you put your fucking beats on, and like you don't really say anything. Like you just look over when it's the other person's set. Like you just look and you're like, do your fucking set. And then you point at the
Yeah.
bench if you need a rep, like you need a spot, like you point and you're like, no, and then you just like keep going, or you'll do like this if you need a spot. And it's just because this it's just that time when you can be in your place. And so when anything takes your happy place. You remember Happy Gilmore? When
Yeah.
anything interrupts your happy place, like it can be really 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 it can really affect you, because now you don't have any place to go. Now I don't have any place to run, and I'm just being eaten up all day long, and that's bad.
Nah, you know, like that. And so, you know, I think that's a great point, you know, for sure, especially in this one, you know, about logic over emotion, like that. And, you know, it's a hard thing. It really is a hard thing to control emotions. And I mean, that's a question that, you know, I want to ask you, you know, like that. Like, you know, I've never been at the world level, you know what I mean, for Master Worlds or even the worlds or any big time, like for pans and things like that. Like, you know, tell me your lead up when you're actually there, you know what I mean, that you're controlling those emotions. You know what I mean?
The first time I did Master Worlds, I lost 2 hours before I ever got it.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in the room, 27, 30 mats, who's who of jiu-jitsu. Every possible name that you could imagine was in that room. And you're walking around, you're like, man, this is it. And you're looking around, and then all of a sudden, I felt my heart start pumping. And bro, I was just walking, but it felt like I was jogging. And I was just, bro, but by the time I hit the mat, I was exhausted. I hadn't done anything, but I just, so then after going there and after doing it once, it's like, okay, now I'm here. Now I know what to expect when I walk in the room. It's not such a big shock, because normally you go to tournaments, 6 mats, 8 mats, not 30. You know what I mean? Who's there? Maybe a couple of guys a couple of local guys that but it's not, Cobrinha and Rafa Mendez and Buchecha and Leandro Lowe, and all these guys aren't in the room, and you're like, and you just have this feeling like I'm gonna do something and Buchecha's gonna be like, that guy's trash. Like Buchecha's not gonna know you, he's not gonna care. But you just end
Yeah.
up with all these weird feelings, and then um so then after you get there, then, and this is gonna be weird for a lot of people, then I changed my playlist.
Uh-huh.
So normally people go in and it's Rage Against the Machine. It's the fastest music that you could find. And now, whenever I'm in the bullpen, I'm typically listening to classical music. Like I'm typically listening to classical because it's
Calming.
slower, it's calmer. I can relax, and so I can keep. I'm trying to keep my heart because you have to be nervous.
Yeah.
You have to be
You're
nervous.
you're stupid if you're not nervous. You know what
You're
I mean?
stupid if you're not nervous.
Yeah.
You
You
have
know
to
what I
be
mean?
nervous.
Like that nervous, keeps you on the edge. You know what I mean? And your your instincts and everything are very heightened. Like that. And if you're just cool, calm, and collected, like, oh yeah, whatever. I promise you, you're just gonna be a little a lag behind, a step behind, and stuff like that, and you're gonna miss something. You know what I mean? Like that. And I'm not saying not to be calm and cool, collected, but I'm like, that nervousness, keeps you on the edge. It keep like that chip on your shoulder like that, like you need that, for sure to carry through your any type of fight.
You you have to if it's anything that's big going on and you're not just a little bit nervous, it's because you don't care. Like if I
Hmm.
don't care, it doesn't matter. Why do I be nervous? I don't give a shit about this. It doesn't make a difference
Yeah,
at
you
all.
like win or lose. Like I just wanted it to be over. Yeah, like
Yeah,
that. Like why are you even here then? Yeah, you
yeah.
know what I
But
mean.
if you care, your heart will be there and your heart will be in it. And so
Hmm.
for me, man, I just have to, I put the music on, and I listened to the build up music before. Like I
Hmm.
listened to the Rage Against the Machine an hour before, but
Yeah,
45 minutes, 30 minutes before, it's classical because now my heart rate's up. Now I need to get to a plateau. And now I
yeah.
need to just chill and now I need to be thinking so that I can go out there and perform because uh, bro, it's. But I think that
Eh,
the best thing to anybody who wants to compete on a big level, um, or perform on a big level, doesn't matter what it is. Um, if you want to perform on a high level, you have got to accept the fact that the first couple of times you do it, you're probably going to fail. Um, but you have to try to do it because you have to be accustomed to what you have to know what you're up against. There's no way you can watch Worlds on TV and you can watch Worlds on Flow Grappling. You can watch it, bro. When I was in the pyramid at the end of May competing at Worlds in IBJJF, there was nothing like it. And then Pablo says, "You think that's good? You need to go to Brazil and go to Brasileiros." He says, "You think Worlds was hot? Go to Brazil and go to Brasileiros." And so
yeah,
that's my next thing. That's my
like
that's
that.
my next.
Like, I've never been at a big tournament for jujitsu. I have fought, and I fought, in front of thousands of people like that. And I can tell you right now, like, there's never been one time, you know, when I'm walking down, to the cage, and everything like that. I was just an emotional wreck. And I mean, like every single step that I get closer to the cage and they finally lock it behind me and things like that, like every single time, like there is literally tears coming down my eyes like that because like I like at that instant, what I mean, walking down, like everything that I've done to this point in my life of training wise, like it's just hitting me like a fucking a brick in a wall. And I like like every single time I've ever fought, like I always try to control those things and things like that. But the thing is that, the second that they locked down the cage down and they're freaking, they already did the whole ceremonial calling the names in red corner, blue corner, and things like that. Like for some reason, as soon as that freaking bell ring, like I was at home and I was already there. Like I've been here before, like that, and like instinct just took in, for sure, like that. But before that, yeah, like man, like it's just it's such an emotional wreck, and like I promise you, like I was always in tears, from the back room, like that. Whether it's Jared, R.I.P. Jared, like that, him rubbing my shoulders and trying to calm me down and relax me like that, and then freaking just Saul right in front of me giving me words of affirmations and things like that, because he never lets you freaking talk bad about yourself, but he'll always freaking just give you words of affirmation right there in your ear like that. And then as I'm walking down, like everything is just hitting me like this is it. Either I'm gonna fucking, you know, I'm gonna eat You know what I mean? Like that, or I'm gonna have to scrape up money for the next freaking, couple months like that, living hard, until I get another payday. Like that. And that's honestly everything that was always going through my mind, because it wasn't a flashy life I was really living at the time at all. For sure. And it's so funny that you talk about, music and how much music, really affects you and things like that. For me, like in my workouts and things like that, like yeah, like I have my heavy rap or freaking hardcore freaking rock, when I'm going for like big heavy lifts or PR days and things like that. But honestly, man, that freaking like I'm always on like the R&B, salsa bachata freaking playlist all the time in my headphones. If you see me working out, all right, and I'm fucking pumping weights and stuff like that, you best believe I'm lifting to something like that because freaking the RPMs and the beat of those musics that I'm always listening to and the my breathing that freaking I always preach to my clients and things like that to try to get in sync with their lists and things like that. Like yeah, like I want something just nice and relaxing. I don't need nothing where my heart is palpating, freaking the whole workout. You know what I mean? I'm already a scoop of pre-workout and an energy drink in. I need to start calming that shit down. For sure.
That's one of the things, and I really picked that up when I was running, when we had to do all that road work. Because what I would realize is the playlist is going, and then I would run as fast as the music. So if
Mhm.
I was listening to something super fast, like I was, and then the
Yeah.
music would slow down and the pace would slow down, and so then it's music, man. Music is big, man,
Yeah.
and it's your natural instinct that your body just picks up on the beat. Your body just
Yeah.
picks up on the beat, and then that beat it's coming through your lungs, through your chest.
Mhm.
If you need oxygen, you don't need a fast beat because you're gonna fuck around and hyperventilate. You need something that's
Just
gonna relax you.
breathing too hard, for
Yeah,
sure. Like
yeah,
that.
that's
But
what's up.
no, this 4-part series was a great, freaking just reminiscing in the mindset, that you should always carry in and out, of practices and things like that, to really be self-aware and conscious of, just getting to that next level and breaking through, from a beginner, and I'm not saying that I'm a master, I'm pretty sure you'll say the same thing or anything like that because it's again, just that one thing that we've talked on before, the game is forever evolving, like that, and you're always trying to be a student, what I mean? Like you should never not think that you're not a student of the game ever, like that. Freaking, even at the highest level, red belts and things like even them for them are always learning something. There's something to be always to be learned, for sure. And to be mastering those things like that as it's coming through like that, it's just gonna be time, experience, wisdom. A lot of it, comes from mistakes, what I mean, faults like that. And it's only because you're willing to try those things, for sure, and accept that, okay, I failed. Let me adjust, let me learn, and then freaking come back to it again and find myself in this position so it doesn't happen again. Like that. And, these 4-part series, like that, like, it was a lot of, just that mindset of getting you from the beginning, and finding yourself where you're close to the end and, and seeing that it's never really there and you're just constantly learning, for sure until you hang up the gloves, you hang up the belt, whatever it may be, like that for sure.
Funny thing is, I saw this guy. He was a motivational speaker, and he was, bro, speaking facts. And he said something, and you know, I'm not trying to offend anybody when I say this, but he said when somebody gets pregnant, people always say congratulations on your pregnancy, but they never asked you how many times you got fucked to get pregnant.
But yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just,
Old guy,
bro, yeah, it's an old,
the
but
old
bro,
guy, yeah.
there's so much failure that comes with success. You
Yeah.
you you have to fail. You have to. It's part of the process. There's no way that you can enjoy the process. There's no way you can enjoy. It's not a journey. If the first time you try, you succeed. It's not a journey. That's nobody goes on a journey to breathe. You come out, somebody smacks your ass, you breathe. That's not a journey. You're
Hmm.
doing it. You know what I'm saying? The journey, walking is a journey because first you're scooting and you're doing tummy time and all. And that's the process that you have to get accustomed to that's a process you have to enjoy, and that's just every successful no entrepreneur, no successful business owner, no Fortune 500 guy. It wasn't his first business that made him to the Forbes 500 list. Like he tried other stuff, and some of it worked, and some of it kind of worked, and some of it failed, and you have to accept that. And the only true failure is when you let it take over and you say, well, that's it. I'm nothing, and I'm never gonna try again, and you get too afraid to do it again. That's when you actually fail. But
Yeah.
it's not always gonna work. And
I like
so
those.
that's good.
I like this saying, and it just fucking sucks. It really does too, because it hits so hard. You know what I mean? And where people like successful people, they were like, it took me 10 years to be an overnight success. You know what I mean? I like, no one sees what you did on your own. The countless hours, freaking, in the gym, outside the gym, the discipline you did at home, like that. How many times that you lost rounds, you've lost tournaments, all the injuries that you've battled and things like that. And then you finally freaking get your hand raised, in something, in a very important match or whatever it may be, or you finally freaking broke through, and now you're making freaking, $1 million, $100 million, in your business and things like that. Now you're in the yacht and whatever it is like that. And like, but again, back to what you were saying like that, no one ever, asked you how many times you got fucked along the way, what I mean, for you to finally have something prideful to show, what I mean? Like, this is my baby. What I mean? Ain't nobody gonna touch him. so, so, yeah.
It's a man. It's a tough thing, man, because I can tell you we've actually had this conversation before, bro. The number of days when I've just been like, I'm never going back. Like I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not. I'm not. I'm gonna tell you the first combat sports one for me. We went in one day. We were off of Gulf Freeway, and it was the first sparring session. And I was like, whatever. And Renee was my corner man, and Saul on the other side of the ring. We were not in the cage; we were in the ring under the
Yeah.
block.
Yeah.
And Saul was like, "Okay, let's see what you got." I had been training. I had probably started training at night, maybe for a couple of weeks. And Saul put me across the cage from Aaron Reeves, bro.
Yeah.
That kid beat me relentlessly. And mind you, I'm 35 and he was like 20,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm
Half your age.
bro, kid beat me relentlessly. And I went and I got in the car and I was like, and I remember Renee was like, just cover up, just cover up. Like, Renee was like, just cover up, cover up. And I
Survive.
was like, yeah, I'm not covering up. And then I remember thinking like, I'm not going back. Like, I'm not.
This ain't for me.
Going back. I'm not doing that shit again. Like, yeah, and not to train. Just the set. This was like the first time Saul was like, come over here and train with the pros, right?
Yeah.
Come over here and do this. And I was like, no, I'm just gonna stay on the ground, and hit the pads with the newbies. I'm just gonna stand out and do that.
I was gonna say that too. I was like, I'm surprised Saul didn't say, "Hey, if you ain't gonna fight, get the fuck out and just hit the pads." But everybody else, they'll do.
Bro, it was he may have said it, but I was in such a fucking whirlwind.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, that's fine, And then I went home, and you had to think about it, and you had to take this fucking thing that's this big, the pride that's this big, and swallow that bitch so that you could come back in the next day. Because I was like, I'm not. I can't go out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm gonna quit, I'm gonna beat the shit out of him, and then I'm gonna quit. Like, fuck it, I don't want to do this no more because I kicked your ass.
I got mine, and I'm out. I'm
out.
I'm out on top. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But it was yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, bro. But it was good. It was so many lessons came in off of Go Freeway, bro. So many life lessons came off the Go Freeway, bro.
Yeah. I think after everything with this 4-part series, if there's one thing that I can really say, to anyone that, feels this way or is starting out or anything, it's just having a relentless mindset. You know what I mean? Relentless to not quit, relentless to keep on learning, relentless, to keep training, be a student, relentless to soak up as much stuff as you can, and just know that you're going to be, 1,000 times better than you were when you first stepped in, into the gym and practice whatever martial arts that you decide to practice for sure. Like that, because a lot of those guys will say the same thing and, they didn't get that far, just to stop, what I mean? Like that at all, so, it's just having that relentless mindset.
Bro. Bro, that's it.
Yep.
That's where it
Yep.
came
Yeah, I mean,
from.
he
100%.
he wasn't everybody's taste, at all. But you know what? Hey, he kept it real, 100%. Like that. And if you weathered, his storm, like that, he took care of you 100% too. Like that. It wasn't easy to gain his trust and freaking, at all, like that. But once you were in that inner circle, like, hey, you can really hang your hat on that and say, like, you know what? Hey, I can go in any gym and freaking really make a name for myself anywhere else, knowing that this guy right here, accepted me. So and that is really something
100%.
to say. Yeah, that's
100%.
something really to say for sure. Like that. But RIP to him, freaking it sucks how he went out, what I mean, like that. Way too young. He had a lot more offer, a lot more years to offer a lot his knowledge and things like that for sure. Like that. And so, you know, I'm like, there's nothing much to really say about that part, what I mean, without getting choked up. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great dude, bro. That's, yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
We'll do it next time.
But before we head out, man, like that, go ahead. Did you find that lady's name?
Bro, I couldn't find her name. Couldn't all I could find was this VRSS fight gear underscore fight gear on Instagram is her is just where I found the 4-part series. I'm gonna have to look through it more to see about her, to see specifically who she is, because I'm also interested, she's reading this research, but I'm also interested in wondering um if she's got her own stuff out there, and how
Mm-hmm.
how much further in she goes, because I think that's kind of a good thing for anybody who's into combat sports. They should kind of look at it and dive deeper into why your primal instincts are the way they are.
Yeah, check out that page, VRSS underscore fight gear. Like that. This is where we got this 4 part series from. Like that, she speaks on a lot of great knowledge. Really checked out a lot of her stuff like that. So go ahead and support her too and like that. But other than that, guys, if y'all like this, what we're talking about and all the information that we're giving for y'all, hit that like and that subscribe button for sure. My name is Eric Valdez alongside Jewel Johnson. All right, this is Sweat Equity, and we'll see y'all till next time, guys. So.